Hi everyone, it's a ticket to Christ. Thank you for tuning back in. We're still on the Jesus series looking at the compassion of the Lord. We're in Luke chapter 5 from verse 12 to 13. And it came to pass when he was in a certain city, behold, a man full of leprosy who seeing Jesus fell on his face and besought him, saying, Lord, if thou wilt, thou canst make me clean. And he put forth his hand and touched him, saying, I will, be thou clean. And immediately the leprosy departed from him. Okay, so we see Jesus heal a man full of leprosy. Now, what is leprosy? Where was Jesus? And what are the dynamics here? Like, what's standing out for you? What I'm noticing, well, the first thing is Jesus came to this particular city. It says a man was full of leprosy, not a little bit of leprosy. Leprosy is a skin disease. I believe that it caused disfiguration. So and it was contagious by touching. So people who had leprosy were outcast. They weren't allowed to, be a part of society. And when they're walking through a town or city, they had to yell, unclean, unclean, unclean. So it affects the skin and the peripheral nerves, the surfaces of the upper respiratory tract is what I read, and like your eyes. So it's really bad. And there was no cure for it at that time. And so they were called, I believe, like they were people that society shunned out of fear of getting it, because if you get it, there was no cure, and you became an outcast, banished from your family, from society. And so when this person came up to Jesus, it says he was full of leprosy. And when he saw Jesus, how does he respond? He falls on his face and pleads with him, Lord, if thou wilt, thou can make me clean. So what are you noticing here? He is coming to the one hope that he knew, that there's a shot. And what does Jesus do? It says Jesus reached out and touched him and said, I will be thou clean. Jesus could easily have just said, be thou clean. He could have just spoken the word, but Jesus touched him and spoke the word. Why do you think Jesus touched him? I think that was to show this man that he is healed, that he's accepted. But Jesus was doing an emotional healing as well on this man. Imagine being an outcast, not touched, not embraced. You're under rejection and condemnation. And to have Jesus touch him, also, I think, did an emotional healing of this man. He could feel the empathy, the kindness, and the love of the Lord. So the Lord wasn't just doing physical healings, but spiritual and emotional healings of people, which a lot of times they go beyond, even when a person is healed, they can get to the core of a person. And I just see the compassion and the kindness here of the Lord. And every time he healed people, it was that type of heart, that love, that compassion, that empathy. It wasn't just, I have this healing ministry, but behind the ministry was that spirit of God, the spirit of love, the spirit of wholeness, of bringing wholeness to a person. And I think that man, he needed physical healing, yes, but he also needed someone. He needed that hand to touch him and say, you are okay, you're accepted. You're healed and you're accepted. And Jesus, by touching him also, that would have given that man the faith he needed for the healing, because he knew that if somebody's touching him, then that means that it's happening, because he's having a disease that's contagious through touching. And so we see that the level of impact Jesus had on people and has on us now goes beyond just, physically getting something. It goes to the core of who we are, in transforming us and showing us the love of God and who God is and what God is like. God is a Father of mercy, a God of compassion. He doesn't treat us the way we deserve, and He goes the extra mile with us. When He straightens out our life, is not just eking out mercy. He does it fully and generously and in grace. We see as well, even there's another example of a man by the pool in Bethsaida, where this man couldn't get into the pool. Everybody else had somebody to lead him into the pool. And I'll drop that scripture below. It's in John 5. That man, there were a lot of people who were blind and lame and withered, waiting to go into this pool of which, when in a season, an angel would stir the water, and people who went in there got healed. But there was this man who was sick for 38 years, and no one was there to help. He didn't have anybody to help him. And sometimes you're in that situation where you feel so alone that you don't have anyone to help you, and you're in a situation of maybe not its physical infirmity, but maybe emotional infirmity, or maybe you're going through something whereby you're overwhelmed by it, and other people are able to, have the help they need and run ahead, and there you are waiting. And here Jesus came and healed him. Just said, "Rise, take up your bed and walk." Jesus healed him. Jesus saw the need, came to him. And that's what the Lord does. And he is doing that in your life today, and will, if you need that. God looks, He searches, He looks for the hearts. And He's able to reach us in the areas of our life that we need it, in the areas that are beyond us. We see other examples of a widow in Nain who lost her only son. The Lord had compassion and raised him from the dead. We also see with Lazarus, when Jesus raised him from the dead, Jesus wept. Jesus wept knowing He was going to raise him from the dead. But when He saw the hurt of the people, of His friends, it broke His heart. So God empathizes with us. He's a Father that not only loves us and does things for us, but He empathizes with us in our wounds, in our weaknesses, in our trials. And in coming to Jesus, you have that type of shoulder to lean on. You have, a relationship with God whereby you have an able provider, but also a provider who is empathetic to your struggle, to your trials. And Jesus is able. It says that's why Jesus was able to be perfect Messiah, sacrifice, high priest, because He was able to empathize. He's able to relate to our struggles and our challenges. So that is what I got from this. I do hope that it inspired you and encouraged you today. If you're going through something, if you're challenged, just know that you serve a God who is empathetic, who sees you, who cares for you, and is able to meet your needs, both spiritually and emotionally, even in those broken places, those hidden places where no one can see. The Lord is able to heal you, heal your emotional wounds, heal the trauma, heal, restore light, bring light to the dark places, and make you whole. God bless you, beloved. Have a great day. Bye-bye.